Welcome to this introductory video about CrownLabs, a system that we have at Politecnico di Torino to deliver computing labs from remote, which is especially interesting in this current time of pandemic. So, how does it work, CrownLabs? CrownLabs, as many other services nowadays, is based on a data center, is based on cloud, basically. So what do we have on cloud? We have virtual machines running on a data center, and each student is provided with its own virtual machine. Virtual machine can be installed with different software, so we may have a virtual machine blue, like for including the software for a given environment like programming, and we have another virtual machine which is maybe red in this picture that has something about computer networks and so on. What is interesting is that each student has its own copy of the virtual machine pre-installed with the entire environment. But so far this looks very similar to a remote desktop. So why do we need CrownLabs? And the reason is that students like to work together because they help to each other. But this becomes really difficult when students are based on a different location. Maybe they stay even in different cities. So this is mainly the power of CrownLabs. Students, if they want, they can share the same virtual machine, the same remote desktop, and they can interact at the same time. So this is something that may look strange, but it will be very easy to show during the demo that will be available in a few minutes. So CrownLabs provide this kind of collaborative environment that helps students to work together, to interact at the same time, but even if the student needs to ask for help, because maybe there is the instructor there, so they can involve the instruction, and the instructor can enter into the same virtual machine and work together with the students, helping them to solve the problem they have. And this is something unique for CrownLabs. So, in a nutshell, which are the benefits of this system? First, students have their own computing lab completely set up working without doing anything on their machine. So no need to install and configure anything locally, because students may have to carry on labs in different subjects, so they would have to configure their machine with different software. This can be difficult and so on, so no need for anything that. So the student just need a computer, connect to the remote environment through the web, so just a web browser, and everything is ready to go. And it's obvious that the student doesn't need a powerful computer to run their labs, because what it in fact needs is a standard computer, even a tablet, for instance, and a decent network connection, by the way, not even that powerful, because the resource consumption in terms of networking is pretty small. You can complete the lab at any time, so students do not have the problem that sometimes the computing labs in university close because the data center is available 24/7. Of course, the lab is available 24/7. Maybe the professor is not available in the same way, but anyway, better than nothing. And finally, as we already said, CrownLabs allows you to share your desktop with your colleagues and the other professor in order to enable a truly collaborative environment. But now it's time for a demo, so let's switch to a proper web-based environment and let's see how this works. Let's see now how to use CrownLabs. So first, we have to ask for an account if you don't have it already, because you have to log in on the website. Usually, students' accounts are already being created by the professor at the beginning of the course, but just in case, you need to have an account. Second, you have to connect to the CrownLabs portal at this address. Let's try to do so. crownlabs.polito.it, and then definitely you have to log in. Now you have to start the lab. What does it mean, starting the lab? It means that here you have a list of labs, and here you have a list of running labs. Right now you have no running labs, which means that you are enrolled in a specific lab, but you have to start the virtual machine. So let's click here and wait for a few seconds, it means like 1 minute or so, in order to have the virtual machine running. Now the virtual machine is running, here is green. So what should I do? Okay, you have to connect to your VM. So how do we connect? Here, connect. A new tab in your browser opens. Then in a few seconds, now you have your new Linux system ready. This is your Linux system. You can use the terminal emulator, you can list files, you can start apps like htop to see the memory and the CPU consumption of your system. You can browse your file system, and you can start any application that is available for you. So in this case, this lab has been set up for computer networks. So you can create here something like routers and networking in general, and then you can configure routers. So I don't want to spend time here because this is not the objective of this video, but just to show that you can do, you can run applications like Bing locally. So one of the characteristics of this lab is that this virtual machine is deleted each time you stop it, and all the data you store on this virtual machine is deleted as well. This is behavior, intended behavior, because we would like to help students who may made mistake, which is normal for a student, otherwise a student will not be a student. Basically, in case of troubles, you can always stop the virtual machine and restart it again, and it restarts from scratch, so without any changes that you may have made here. The problem is what happens if I want to store some files in your VM, because maybe you want to keep for a later day and so on. So CrownLabs provide you what we call My Drive. My Drive is a shared folder, permanent shared folder that you can use in order to store your data. So let's create maybe a document. So let's create a test document.txt, and let's write something in it, okay, like hello from CrownLabs. Okay, so this document will be kept even if you stop the virtual machine and you restart, because this is a shared drive managed completely by a different application. And by the way, you can also access to that application by going here in the CrownLabs main page and then connect it to your shared drive, your My Drive. So this is another cloud application called Nextcloud that allows you to interact with your shared drive. You can see here the test document that we wrote over there is in fact stored here. And basically you can also download, okay, so you know the test document is now on my machine, and I can open natively from my computer. So just in case you need it, you can upload files or download files from CrownLabs through this way. Okay. So let's go here and let's see the next steps. Okay, the next step was save data on the shared disk if needed. We already demonstrated this. So the other funny things that you may need to use is to use the shared clipboard, so like copying data from your machine to your system and vice versa. Unfortunately, this is a little bit more difficult because there is not completely a shared clipboard between CrownLabs and your system. So what you have to do is the following. Let's take something like this hello from CrownLabs. Okay, let's copy. Now this test is copied, is available on your virtual machine. So for instance, I can paste and whatever. Okay. But it's also available here on this small tab that you can find here on the left. Here, this is the clipboard, and the clipboard says hello from CrownLabs. So what you have now is that hello from CrownLabs has been put in this clipboard. So you have to select this test again. Sorry, this is not completely intuitive, but you have to select this test again, like I did right now, and then copy again. So now the text is in your clipboard in the machine. So if I start a notepad here and I copy, okay, hello from CrownLabs. Okay, let's write something else, like hello from Windows. Okay, so let's copy here. I just copy here, then I go again here in this shared clipboard. I delete what was there, and I place hello from Windows. And now, if I go on Linux, so here, and I type Ctrl V and paste, you will see hello from Windows. So the shared clipboard is still available, so you can copy from Linux to Windows, but using this intermediate step, so this shared clipboard that is available through this small tab here on the left. And then we can close the tab because we don't like it. Okay. So let's go to the last very important feature, which is sharing your desktop between different people. So let's do this way now. Let's imagine that this student wants to share the desktop with a friend or the professor. What he has to do is to copy this link and send this link to his friend or to the professor. The professor will have to paste this link and connect to CrownLabs. Of course, he has to authenticate himself. Okay, we're connected, but let's see what happens now. Let's put those two windows side by side so it's much easier to see what happens. So if I'm the professor and I'm moving here, okay, exactly the same things happen on the screen of the user. Let's imagine I'm here. Can you see my cursor? The cursor is in the top left angle. So I'm here on the student screen, but at the same time the cursor has appeared also on the professor's screen. And if I do something, the terminal, okay, this happens on both sides. So let's imagine I'm the professor now. So I type here htop, and this happens on the user terminal as well. I move to the student terminal, I stop it, and this is stopped also on the other side. So, you know, both people can interact exactly at the same time on the same virtual machine. So this makes definitely easier the interaction and the collaboration between different students together and between students and the professor. So what can I do now? Okay, now we are ready to finish this demo. So two things we can still demonstrate. First, you can disconnect to keep your lab running, for instance, to continue later. So this is visible this way. So let's put this again in the big screen. Okay. So I can disconnect. To disconnect, I can do this way. So I push here on this icon, disconnect. So you are now disconnected. But you can see that the virtual machine here is still working. So it's still green. So you can connect it here again, and you can find exactly the same desktop that you left before. So nothing changed. So you can keep your desktop alive without any problem. Or otherwise, you can come here, and the last action is to stop the VM. If you stop the VM, okay, the VM is no longer available here. So if you want to create again and work with your lab, you have to start it again from here. And of course, your network connection toward the VM will be dropped. Okay. You can see it's not longer available. So, a few words about what we really have in Torino. So we have an experimental facility at the Latispe Computer Labs in Torino. This experimental facility is a very small, really very small data center made by 4 servers. As you can see, there are not a lot of resources here, but it's enough to carry on very, reasonable complex labs with something like 50, 70 students. We tested it, usually it's okay. So servers are rather powerful, so Intel Xeon, also single CPU with a lot of RAM and also a reasonable amount of hard disk, not that much. But very fast, or this is not SSH, is SSD. Okay, and very fast network. The network is very important. Storage is also provided by a shared backend, storage backend made by QNAP. Again, here the network is very important. And then we have a 1 gig link toward the internet, but we plan to expand to 10 gig. So this is the end of our demo. Please consider that CrownLabs is a project done by students for other students. So there is nothing commercial here. Everything has been done by students. Let's say in a best effort way. We do the best, but okay, maybe something can be improved. So nobody is paid here, and everybody is here for learning. So feel free to contact us to propose improvement, including the documentation that we know can be definitely improved, or to ask for help. And feel free to join our community if you want to learn a little bit of cloud as well. Thanks for your attention.